Okay, good morning everybody. Morning students, morning everyone. Thank you for being a part of the class today. I'm going to ask you please to place yourself in the groups that you were in at the last class, right? The last class we were looking at civil rights, and as on the board we have important terms and phrases: boycott, non-violent protest, civil rights, segregation. Today's class will be focused on this and we're looking at examples. Alright? Okay, so in looking at the whole idea of civil rights, can anyone in their groups share with the class what you got from the last class regarding civil rights? Yes, John. In civil rights, right. Civil rights refers to having equality and freedom within the same space as everybody else. So, what feeling does it bring to you, being able to have this equality and this freedom? Yes, Jane. Okay, yes. It gives you a sense of belonging and give you a sense of willingness to participate. Good, excellent. All right, so we're talking about segregation. We're going to be emphasizing the different aspect of the lesson, and that's why these words are placed on the board. In segregation, yes, can anyone share in the groups what is meant, what you think is meant by segregation? I'd like for you in your groups to pass around these photos, right? This represents how it was in the mid 1900s as far as transportation is concerned in the United States of America, right? And this photo also represents a moment where in which they had a boycott of bus services, right? Boycott of taking the bus. Alright, so I'm going to be passing around these two photos around, and I want you to look at them. Alright, so what do you get from the photos, especially the one that says colored seating? Right? And you notice something? Yes, there's Mary. Okay, excellent. Black people during that period of time were allowed to sit, we're only allowed to sit at the back of the bus. Alright, so moving into today's class, yes, Jane? Right, and as a result of that, you could say that is segregation. Excellent. Alright, so moving into today's class, we're going to be focusing on a particular individual who refused to sit at the back of the bus, and this went down in history as a movement towards, forcing the members of our society to disregard the whole idea of segregation. Okay, anyone here have ever heard about the story of Rosa Parks? Yes, yes, John. Excellent. So Rosa Parks was, right, a black lady. Yes, hold on, Paul, I'm coming to you. Yes, who refused to sit at the back of the bus as is on the photo, and she stirred up a little situation where which, persons were motivated to, stand up for this freedom and this equality in which they were all looking for. Excellent. Alright, so we move to the Montgomery Bus Boycott. Now, after Rosa Parks was arrested, right? And we looked at Rosa Parks as an individual who, regardless of the punishment that were about to be enacted because of her refusal to move to the back of the bus, she got arrested. Persons were actually inspired to actually boycott the buses because they were not being treated properly. All right, so the Montgomery bus boycott, it meant something. Can anyone here share the class in your group? How would you feel if you were segregated in a bus or in a classroom or in the regarding bathroom or area in which you actually drink water? This is for the blacks, this is for the white, and how would you feel? Yes, John, right? You would feel as if you are less than those persons who have better opportunity than you. Indeed. All right, so would you say, we're looking at protests, right? The Montgomery bus protest. Would you say that on the board here, right, we have boycott, we have non-violent protests, we have civil rights, and we have segregation, right? Okay, would you say a boycott, what is a boycott, by the way? Before I get to the question in which, right, a boycott is when you refuse to, excellent, you refuse to do something because you feel as if that you were not, this is something is not right. Excellent. So would you say that the boycott, the Montgomery boycott, was a violent protest or a non-violent protest? Yes, sir. Excellent. It was a non-violent protest because there was no agitation, there were no war, there were no fighting. Persons just refused to do what they were told, and as a result, it felt good to them. They were motivated to stand up for their civil rights, which is, yes, Mary, excellent, which were the freedom and the opportunity to experience equality. Excellent. All right, so here we talk about boycott, wherein you refuse to participate or to engage in. And here we talk about non-violent protests. Non-violent protests, the absence of violence, but you are actually against something. And here we talk about segregation. Now, in the bus where you had Rosa Parks, deciding not to sit at the back, that was a clear example of excellent. It was a clear example of segregation. And as segregation, the whole segregation law rule was found on in what? Based on the assignment that you got. The Jim Crow law, right. And as a result of that, the whole idea of segregating blacks from white was enacted and was practiced, especially in the southern states, right? So, can anyone here share with me? Can anyone here share with me at least 3 or 4 southern states that we have looked at in previous lesson that were more akin, or should I say more favored the segregation law. Excellent. So we had southern states like Texas, right? Georgia, right? South Carolina, North Carolina, and Florida. Excellent. I like this class. You all participate so well. All right, cool. So what I want you to do for me is to write 2 sentences sharing at least one reason why you think the civil rights and individual civil rights would have been affected or impacted or troubled as a result of the segregation law, right? The segregation law that existed then during the high point of even before the high point of the civil rights movement amongst black people, as they tried to become, as equal with or experience the same freedom as though their white counterparts. Alright, so here you have your 2 minutes and we are going there. So in your groups, please consult amongst yourself and so that we can discuss in the latter half of the lesson. Alright, so okay, so for tomorrow's class, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be looking at the different ways in which persons try to use non-violent protests so as to force the lawmakers of the day to, ensure that everyone experiences civil rights, the freedom, the equality amongst the citizens of the United States of America. Before we end, however, I would like for us to share in our groups what you got or what you wrote down with the class. All right, so Mary's group, and then John, and then Jane. Okay, all right, so yes, awesome. Yes, I like that. I like that. Okay, yes, yes, right. So here you have it, guys. You all have something important in which you have shared. I appreciate your participation in the lesson. Have a wonderful day. See you tomorrow at class as we explore more in our civil rights. Peace. Ready?